Hello, this is Nikki in Niagara, coming to you from Niagara Falls, Canada. And welcome to another color and chat. So I have had a few requests to color something with my Tombows. Now, I hauled these. I'm not sure if it was my last haul or a couple hauls ago. So, people want to see them in action. First of all, why did I buy them since I have a lot of alcohol markers? Well, the reason I bought them was to work in double-sided books. Mainly to work in color by number books, especially these ones, because these use a ton of colors in them and they are double-sided. So to help me reach the colors that I need to have, I have my 100 Crayola Super Tips, and now I have my 96 Tombows, dual brush Tombows. So I'll just show you a picture in here that was done. Let's use something to cover up so that our eyes don't get distracted. This one right here was 100% done with Tombows. It makes a nice line, makes a nice picture, and as you can see, it doesn't bleed through or even ghost through onto the other side of this paper. But I didn't want to do a color by number on screen for you right now because that's kind of a little boring. So I've picked another double-sided picture book, a color book, that we can work out of, and I will use the Tombows. So you can pretty much use any water-based markers on a double-sided coloring book pages unless they're particularly juicy ones. So you do have to test them out first. And pick a page in the book, one near the beginning, one near the end, or if there's a picture in the book that you know you're never going to color, use it. I've picked my beginning page here to try them out. So I took a dark color, and when you are testing, use a dark color because light colors will work much. You'll have light colors that don't bleed through, and then you go and use a dark color and it will bleed through. So I started each one of these squares, and the first one I did ever so carefully with just barely touching my tip of my pen to the page. And then I did the next one, being less careful but still overly careful. This one I was getting close to just using my normal pressure and method of coloring, and the last one was exactly how I color. And we turn the page over, there's absolutely no bleeding and there's absolutely no ghosting. Now you can make it bleed through by leaving your marker in one place and just leaving it to sit there. It will bleed and make a circle on this page, and it will bleed through to the back of this page, and whatever this is, if it's thin enough, it'll go through it and through the next and through the next. So be careful to never rest your marker on the page. So you'll just have to practice yourself with different kinds of water-based markers. I can tell you that Crayola Super Tips work perfectly. You won't have a problem with those. So the picture I've chosen for us to do today is this one right here. It's in chapter 1, and I haven't done very many pictures in here, but I have decided to start with this book now going by chapters. So I'm going to finish chapter 1, then I'll finish chapter 2, but not going in any particular order within the book. So I have my Tombows here, but I'm not going to be, you won't be able to see them until I pick them out. Now, before I turned on the camera, I made sure I had everything I need, and right now I know there's two things I need. So I'm just going to roll my chair over here and pick up the things I need. All right, so let's get the color chart. Let's see, I did it after those. If I can find my Tombows. Are they after that? No, they're before this. There they are. Okay, so I swatched out my Tombows in my normal order. The order I go in is Roy G. Biv, but instead of Ivy, Indigo, Violet, I do Purple, Pink. Then I do neutrals, and that's where all the browns and the peaches and the off-whites go. And then I do grays. And black goes at the end. White I don't do. And that's basically it. So I have them blended out here, but then I also did print out the chart. And I have them all here as well in kind of color families. So I can look at that if I'm using one color in a color family and I want to pick one to go with it. Not a contrast color, but, well, actually you can do that too, because this is a color wheel, so you can pick contrast colors as well by going from side to side. So we'll keep both open, and I am going to start over here. And I will be using my editing software to zoom in on the sections that I use. So if there are jumps in this picture, it's because we've just moved to a different part of the page. Now, I just lost them. Oh my goodness. What's that? Oh, am I at them? No. What happened? What'd I do? What'd they do? What'd they do? What'd they do? Here they are. Okay, so I'm gonna have to put that out of the way too. And I don't know if I'm gonna put this. Does that keep? Yeah, just give me a few minutes here to get this nice for you. Okay, there's more light. We don't need to see this bit because we're working here. So I'm going to start up here with this little corner, and I have a curtain, which I think I'm going to do pink. Now what's a nice pink to use? Rhodamine red, that is a pink. Okay. Let's see, Rhodamine red. Don't have these in any specific order, because the more I use them, the more out of order they got. I'm debating on whether to put them in a pencil case or not. They're long, so I'm actually not sure if they'll fit. They should fit in my big fat one. Yeah, they will. It's beside me, so I just kind of measured. But I'm going to leave the colors that I use out, so that will become my pool of pencils, pens, oh, if I could talk, my pool of pens to pick from. So once I get to a certain amount of colors, I'll pick from here so that my page will be balanced with colors. So it looks like there's a bit of color over there. Now this is a bright pink, but I am just feeling like using bright colors today. Okay, and yeah, okay, good, you can see it. And then, the way I color with water-based markers is to go in lines like this. Now, from doing this, you will see the streaks of lines, but water-based markers are going to streak, so you're gonna have to decide on how you're gonna work with them. So now, if you look at what I've colored, I have vertical lines. I try to keep a page pretty much all the same way, but sometimes it's not possible, so I'll have lines going vertically and horizontally. So I just want to say, because water-based markers get a bad name because they do streak, and I guess I'll use the other end. I don't have any other markers here. I haven't become friends yet with the bullet tip on the end of this. I pretty much always use the brush. So let's just look at this scrap paper right here. Most people, when they use watercolor markers, they will color like it's not my best coloring, but you can see how this makes short little sections and you get the streaky line here all the time. I've chosen to go in long lines. This isn't going to work with such a thin, well, it will, but I'm not in a spot, so it's harder. And you just get, you still get the lines, but they're horizontally, and to me, geometrically looks nice. So that's just my little tip on using water-based markers. And sorry I keep moving the tripod here, but I've got one leg standing on my book because it's a big one. Alright, so I've done that. Now this right here is a shutter, and I think we will go with kind of a mintish green, but kind of on the, ooh yeah, that's the one I want, asparagus 192. So I'm getting to the point where I've become used to these colors, and it doesn't take me long to pick out the color I'm looking for. On that corner. This one? So after I say that, I'm starting to have a hard time. The shade is scattered all out. Ooh, I bet you it's that one. Yes, it is. Same color almost as the one that I picked first. Okay, so I'm going to use number 192. Oh, I guess I should tell you in case you want to color along. Okay, so first we started off with 725, which was hot pink for the curtain. Now the shutter is going to be 192 asparagus. So I was going to film this yesterday, which was Sunday, so that I had it ready for Monday, but here I am, as usual, doing last minute stuff. It is Monday, and I will be uploading this as soon as I'm finished it. And so you will have it on Monday. Because I try to give you your color and chats on Mondays, but if I don't, I have committed to giving you a color and chat every week if it is possible, and I try my hardest to do so. So the weather is, as my son told me this morning, freakishly cold out. It is -8 degrees Celsius, and I know it's embarrassing as a Canadian to say that this is our absolute freezing weather here. But it is. Niagara Falls is in a little valley, and it just doesn't get the weather that the rest of the province or the rest of the country gets. Now that looks like it's the last one in there. Okay, so now I've got my lines going the other way. I'm just going to pick another shade of this. So I think what I'll do, let's just pick one of these and see what color it is. Okay, so here's the one I tried to go for first, 228, gray green. Oh, where's my asparagus? Yeah, that'll work. Not a big difference, but enough. Oh yes, I like that. And I think we'll paint the hardware that color. And I am wondering about these lines going up. This one is obviously part of the shutter. But the other two appear to be just posts on a window. I don't have any other open window on here, so it's not going to matter. I'm going to use my green for that too. So now let's take a look at the back so that you can see that there is no bleed through. It would be right here. That's where I've worked, and there isn't even any shadowing. You've got to use a gentle touch and not go over the same place twice. We just barely go over the previous line, and that's what makes those lines on there. I'm just making sure I've colored in here. Okay, so now that's going to be what we see inside. So it doesn't really matter what color that is, because that's what color the wall is of the building in there, or of the room in there. So let's give it a different shade of pink. 772 is blush. Okay, that's quite a pale color. And the pot of flowers will be a brown, but not too brown. How about dark umber? Dark umber, what's that look like? Coffee brown. Oh, I don't even know what I'm looking for. Oh, dark ochre. 27. There it is. So yeah, I woke up this morning and I was in pain, which is not fair because, well, I guess it is. And anyways, I hate saying it's not fair. Well, I don't even know why I said that, because life is not fair. And to expect it to be is not going to get you anywhere. I have been 3 weeks with my pain at a very low level, which I haven't experienced for a very long time. So I have been enjoying my newfound lessening of the pain. But as I said, because it's so cold, I woke up this morning and I was in quite a bit of pain, I have to say. I woke up and I took all my pain meds, and then I went back to sleep until 8:30, and then that's when I took the rest of my pills and began my day. So now we just have the flowers in there, and before I even started this window, I had decided they were going to be red. They were going to be poppies. To me, no, it's red. Which one is this? 847. Crimson. That's, kind of like Chinese red. Do I have that around here? 856. Yeah, picked it right out. Definitely like this one, so we'll do the flowers. So I am working in this book. I actually only have one picture in here colored. It's just one of those books that I like so much that I like to just look at the pictures, and have not wanted to take the step of actually like coloring in it and perhaps ruining it. I know we all have that feeling. We all have those books. But when I get a book like this, I do purposely not color in it for a little while, because it needs to sit on my shelf and it needs me to take it out every so often and have a look at it and get familiar with it and fall in love with the illustration. And eventually its time will come that I've looked at it long enough that it is time to color it. I just have to make sure that the time between looking at it and deciding it's time to color in it is not a year or more, because that's what's happened with this one. So I picked this book today for a reason. It's Romantic Country Volume 1. And the reason I picked this book is because I am so shattered that Volume 3 has gone out of print without me getting it, that I'm devastated, and I'm mad at myself for not having got it. I do that. I buy all the books in a series except for that last one. And then I just get, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a minute there. Okay, I need to get my color because I can't think and talk at the same time, which I have proven to you numerous times, there we are, that I leave it too long and it goes out of print. I loved both volumes. There's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't have gotten the third one. And so anyways, ever since that happened, and there is not a copy available on the internet at all right now. I am keeping an eyeball on a book outlet, and I think I'm going to be checking there in the middle of the night, so that if it comes in, I can just get it and buy it, and I'll pay shipping. I don't care. Because I need to have that book. But right now, there is not a copy available anywhere. Oh yeah, there's somebody on Amazon Canada who has a copy available for $699. But I know what kind of seller that is, because I used to be in the online book trade for many, many years, and I know all the tricks and schemes that some booksellers will get up to get the most for their book, or well, not necessarily get the most for their book, but put horrific prices on them. Oops, I left the lid off of that. Okay, so that's the window. Now I'm going to have to decide what color I'm going to color the walls of this. And there we go. There's a teensy-weensy little bit of shadowing right there, and that's because I went over a line too many times on that flower. With little spots like that, you have to really be careful to just go over and not go on top of the lines that you've put already. So, what color is my building going to be? This is kind of like in France or Italy, where everybody lives in these things. Well, I think I'll probably have it all the same color, because look at all these shutters, and they'll be nice done in that light green. So they're all closed. So what color should I do the walls? You know, I'm really thinking of doing kind of like a weathered blue. Okay, so what have I got that's kind of the blue I want? This one on here is called True Blue. Navy. We've got okay, well, I'm going to have to look at that. 526. What is this? 528. What color is that? Oh, that's this one is supposed to be navy. Let's give it a look here. Yeah, that is too dark. And it is showing up the same as on the thing. So I need to find another one in there that looks like that. Well, it's hard to see here because the sun is shining in my window. 526. Exactly, True Blue. Okay. Looks very similar. But yeah, it's definitely gonna weathered blue look. Okay, so now when you're doing big sections like this with a water-based marker, you need to go, if you're doing lines like me, you need to go the shortest route. So I don't want to go from here all the way down to there, and from here all the way to there, because that's pushing it. So what I want to do is go across the short edges of that. So I'm going to start here because I can do, that's the way I want to go. So I was so upset that 3 went out of print that I couldn't even look at that number 1 and 2. The thought of coloring in them was, I mean, I'm sorry, I just feel really silly talking about how emotional I got over a book. But I felt that way. I was just so upset that I will probably never fulfill this, complete this set, that I couldn't have a look at 1 and 2. And I knew that was just being silly and that I had to get over it. So that is why I picked this book for today. Okay, see how I made my own ending there? Okay, sorry with the screen. Now I'm going to have to turn my book completely. Well, I guess I'll do it this way. And I don't have a lot of space up there, so this could prove awkward. Where are we? Okay, coloring spot's not on screen. Okay, there we go. I know I'm going to be doing some fancy cut here to get that on screen and zoomed in for you, which I will have by now, so I'm going to start here. And for some reason, I like going from left to right. And sometimes to straighten off the bottom, you'll go across like that, or the top. Because as you notice, I'm going down, move over, up. And I get these little marks here, so I just go across, fill them in. Well, this isn't a fast way to color. It's very relaxing. So don't know how much I will get done of this on screen. As usually I just start a picture on screen and then finish it off screen so that I can show you a new book every time. And I don't want to feel like I have to color everything with okay, see, it's still looking good. I just have that one little bit of red shadowing over there. So I think I will go down here. Since the book is turned this way, we might as well color the rest of the wall. Speaking of coloring books, I have another disaster on my hands. Why do we get so attached to our coloring books? I mean, I guess I feel like they're, well, I mean, I have a separate hobby of collecting coloring books. So the books I have to choose to color from are all ones that I have hand-picked and that are collection worthy. Because I remember looking at coloring books with my sister. I don't know where we were. Oh, no, she was showing me some she was getting rid of. And I was looking, she was showing them to me to see if there's any I wanted. And I remember saying, no, not collection worthy. So yeah, that's how I kind of think of it now. So the other book disaster is, you will remember, if you're a regular watcher of mine, that I showed you the finished pages that I did in World of Flowers. And you will also know that I had a big boo-boo in that book. I had a page that I just turned into a hot mess so badly, and I mean really bad, because I don't just give up on a picture because I make a mistake, and lots of times when I'm in bed coloring, I will fall asleep coloring, and there will be scribbles all over my page when I do wake up, and I still color the page, scribbles and all. So you have to know that it was really bad for me to have thought it was so bad that I ended up turning the book again and moving over here, and I'm going to do the rest of the wall here, but first, oh no, I'll keep it that way. So, yes, so what I did was I blacked out with black acrylic paint the whole page. And I thought, well, I can put something here because, you know, I do stenciling, I do collage. You know, I figured I can figure out some art to put on here. And so I went right away and I got a stencil of a lady's head with flowers. And I'd never used that stencil before, but I thought it was pretty and that's why I had it. So, and I thought, so well, she's got flowers, so let's just stencil her on that page to start with. So it's got something on it. Well, I hated the stencil once I got it on because it didn't have full lines. It had little stop marks in it. And it was a lot thinner than most of my stencils are. Most of my art stencils have bigger lines than that. So, oh man, I just hated it. And I thought, well, I can just go over it with the black again and start fresh. Well, once again, I was not able to go near that book because of the awful page, black page in there. So I am indeed getting a second copy of that book. And I will be transferring the pages that I've colored in my bad copy of World of Flowers into the new one, so I don't have to recolor them. And there's only a couple, so it's not that big a deal. So we are working on the fancy work around the door, and then the door, which I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the doors the same color as the shutters, so they'll be that green. So this I was thinking of using as the navy because they are really, really very close. And everything else I have is just either like way like sky blue or bright blue, and I don't want either of those. I want like weathered. I have to get the extra 12 colors because I think some of those colors in there are called vintage. Okay, well, I'm going to use the navy blue anyway, so shush. How long have we been? 39 minutes. So anyways, all the things I've been saying is I'm not like telling you how to do things. I'm just giving you my experience. So I hope it didn't come across as me trying to tell you that you have to do it this way. I mean, some of you may think that my coloring looks like crap. Anyways, so you know what? When it's on the page, you can tell the difference between these two blues. Yeah, when I have a thin piece like that, I do go lengthways. So I'm going to do this every other color. Well, yeah, it's 39 minutes, and you know I like to go around an hour. So just before an hour, or an hour and up to an hour and 15. So definitely not going to get too much done on this picture. Part of me wants to ask you to tell me whether you want me to color this page, leave this alone and color it next time, so that I keep working on the same page with you. But then the other part of me, of course, now you know, but the other part of me doesn't want to do that at all, because I would like to just be able to take this to bed with me and color it and, you know, get it finished so it can be in this month's finished. Okay, now I have to remember which one's navy. Yeah, it's this one. So this whole outside part I'm using this color for. See, working on this picture to finish it will probably take me like a lot of parts. So it's probably not a good idea, because you can see how slow I'm coloring when I do this. I color pretty quickly when I'm using alcohol markers, because I'm used to them, and I've gotten used to using, oh boy, I've got used to using watercolor pencils as well. So here we go, we're going for a big flip again. So if we're lucky, I will have found a way to get rid of these movements, and it will just flow very professionally for you as I go from one vantage point to another. Now my Tombows are in the way. Okay, I just wanted that there so it kept your eye focused on what I was doing, but yeah, we got it here. Let's at least keep it straight. I had that terrible, well, it's not terrible, but it dismayed me when I saw it. I had two flip-throughs that I did on the same day, and when I looked at the finished versions, they were like a great big slant, and not just slightly slanted, but slant. So I must have knocked my camera so that it looked like the viewer was straight, but the actual camera itself had been knocked a kilter. So I had to put apology messages down below in the description, because, well, what is that? A stone? We'll do it the other color. Okay, so now you are going slanted a little bit, because I cannot push the top any differently. So, well, I'm going to finish down this side anyways. So this morning, when I was getting my coffee, I was kind of having a little think that I thought I would share with you. I look, you know, well, the basis of it is that I ended up thinking that, isn't it strange how everyone's normal is so different? Because I looked out the window, and if anybody else had seen this sight outside their kitchen window while they were making coffee, they might have thought it rather strange or unusual. But to me, it was just normal. So I look out my window, and I guess first I should tell you that I live beside a Buddhist temple. It's just a small one. Has a big parking lot, which gets full on Saturday, so it must be bigger inside than what it looks like outside. So, yeah, so it is populated with monks, Buddhist monks, and their saffron robes. And whenever you see them outside doing their maintenance or whatever you want to call it, they are wearing their saffron robes. So this morning I look out the window, and there in the parking lot of the Buddhist temple is the Buddhist monk in his saffron robes, and this is what made me chuckle, and a saffron parka, using a snowblower to blow snow out of his parking lot. So the first thing that I thought was, where on earth do they get saffron parkas? And then I thought, well, hey, it gets freezing cold in China, so I'm sure they're quite easy for them to get. So yeah, that was quite the thing. I just took it all in my stride. When we first moved here, I think I'm going to use the dark ochre on here, 27 for the door. Oh no, I was going to do the door in the green, as if they'd been painted. But I think I'll do around here is stones, because they definitely look like stones. But first, I have to do these little trees. I've gone over them with blue, so that means they'll end up being darker than the color that I use. So it's probably going to be alright to use this dark ochre. I just hope this doesn't bleed through. There. There. And then this one is totally different. Now let's check and see. Oh good, didn't go through, didn't bleed. Seems to be pretty safe with using these Tombows in a double-sided book that has some decent paper. I've used them in Maria Trolle's books, so I know that, well, Twilight, oh, I'm looking over here to see what they're called, I can never remember. Twilight and, what's the garden one called? Oh no, Nightfall. Nightfall and Twilight. I've used the Tombows in, and they're just fine. So, let's get this little section done, and then we can call it a day, because, well, 10 minutes, exactly 10 minutes, my camera's gonna flip over into making another clip. Okay, so let's get the gray out so I can make those stones. Now, I just want, I'll go with CG5. So I want a cool gray because they're, oh, wait a minute, that's not how they're labeled. CG5 is N65. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my gray. Feels like I'm missing one. Oh, maybe it's this one. No, why am I not finding it? Wait, is there a blue somewhere that I just haven't touched? Well, you know what? I'm not going to look for it any longer. We'll use this one. N60. So, this is N60, which is Cool Gray 6. So I'm using a cool gray because cool grays are bluish, and I've got blue on there, so I do not remember what I was talking about. Oh man. Oh yes, I do, the Buddhists. So when we first moved here, and actually before we moved here, because just around the corner, and there's a house there too that's owned by the Buddhists. That must be where they, well, we thought that must be where they live. Now we know it is where they live. But when we first moved here, we used to think it odd, and we usually stood there and watched for a little bit because the Buddhists would sit in the 2 cherry trees in their front yard. And remember, in their saffron robes, they always have them. They don't ever not wear them. Well, I guess if they were out in public and not wearing them, I wouldn't know that they were a monk. But here they do everything. All their outside work anyways, in those robes. So yeah, they would sit in the hot summer days, spring days, I don't know. They would sit there. They would pick them as well. They would have baskets and pick their cherries, but sometimes they just sat there. So let's use the green, and I'm gonna go this way because that's not too long. What are we at? 53. You know, I'm not going to quite finish this side. So what I am going to do, still got 7 minutes. But what I'm going to do is turn this off at the hour mark. Because it is starting to bother me sitting in this chair. And I just colored on top of the gray. Oh well, it's going to have a dark spot on it when it dries, I guess. And I'm going to have to use a different color on that window too. I guess make it stained glass, eh? That would be nice. Do I have any other windows on this picture? Well, this other door. Yeah, so since my back's hurting, I would much rather go sit in my bed and watch YouTube or BritBox. I remember telling you that I was subscribed to Acorn TV, but I watched all the detective shows and all the mysteries and on that channel, and they don't add new stuff fast enough for me to watch, and they don't add new stuff very often at all. So I went over to BritBox to see what it was like, and there's no duplicate shows, so there was a ton of stuff on there I wanted to watch. So I quit Acorn and I went on to BritBox because once I've watched everything on BritBox, I can always go back to Acorn and watch what they've added new since I left. But the show that I'm watching now is an oldie, but goodie. And I've seen lots of episodes of this show, but I've never seen them all. And it's always interesting to watch a show in order from beginning to end. Is A Touch of Frost. So that's with Inspector Frost. So you Brits out there, or you British TV watchers will know the show that I mean, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I was quite young, or like I was young-ish when I really watched it. I do remember watching a couple of episodes on nighttime TV, but mostly I would have been, you know, young-ish when I watched it, so it's all like new to me. And I'm speaking fast because my time is running down. And I wasn't even coloring. So let's get this across here done. And then I'm going to turn off, as I will have used up pretty much every available minute of my 59 that I am allowed for one clip. Okay, so just get rid of those white spaces there. And if I move this like that, you can see what I've done so far. And I will work on that on my own. So anyways, I hope you learned a little bit about, look at the back side. Nothing showing except for a faint shadowing of red, which was my fault. Showing on the other side. So if you want to color in double-sided books, then one option is water-based markers. You just have to do some tests and make sure you got the right ones that will work for you on your paper. It may be that certain markers will work in certain books but not in other books. So I hope you got some info on working with water-based markers, because I hope you did. And now I don't know what to say because the time is running out on me. So I'm just going to close with, in the meantime, until next time, bye-bye.